Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Dragon Warrior Randomizer 2019 Tournament First Round Reveal. I am Sparkover, and I am joined here by Gameboy F9 and Mr. Holmes. How are you two doing tonight?
I am full of pizza and doing fantastic.
I have just started my salmon, rice, and quinoa dinner, but we'll get through that very much.
Well, it's good to know at least I'm eating healthy. You have to work on it.
All right, well, we're all very well fed, and we're very happy to see everybody out here tonight, and we are ready to start talking about this tournament that we've kind of been excited for a few months now. If you will recall, back in the beginning of May, Silverfire and I actually ran Dragon Warrior Randomizer at RPG Limit Break itself, which was quite a fun event. And now we're here to present to you the tournament. So who would like to say a few things about the format of the tournament?
All right, for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Game Boy.
One of us will. So we're gonna play standard flags throughout. So we're gonna play the exact same flags throughout the tournament. Well, unless the runners decide, oh, we're gonna play with speed hacks, or we're gonna play chaos mode, or we're gonna play a vanilla. Well, no, we're gonna stop you if you do a vanilla run. Sorry, Mr. Holmes. We're going to do a 5-round Swiss tournament, and then that's going to move on to a single elimination bracket. If you have a winning record, you get to move on, and if you don't, you're probably out, because I don't think there's going to be a play-in, because we have 64 runners. So it's going to be single elimination, best of one, until you reach the final four, which is a best of 3. So that is the format.
So I guess out of curiosity, you said there's exactly 64 people. Do you know how the number of entrants has changed over the years, or can you estimate that? Because it's been growing quite substantially.
Yeah, I can tell you that. I believe there were 27 in the first year. There was 32 in the second year. I believe there was 44. I think it was 44 in 2018, and now there's 64 here.
Right. That is some solid exponential growth. So I'm predicting in 2030 we will have approximately 2,000 people in this tournament. It's looking to be really fun, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
I'm in.
We might need a few more restreamers by that time.
Right. Sparkover can only do so many restreams.
So I don't know if we can split it to, like, say, a 20-person layout. Maybe we can make that substantial.
Right. So I guess one thing I wanted to add before we get into the bracket reveal is I'm presuming, unless I'm mistaken, that we are playing on the new 2.1 beta, correct?
Actually, we're up to 2.1.1, and actually tonight there's going to be a 2.1.2 because the slime sprite was all screwed up. So, we are now in official version mode, go mode, I guess, as everybody likes to call it. So that's where we're gonna.
Right. So now that I'm confirmed that we're using this sort of newer versions that have been coming out, of course there are all of these cosmetic changes with a huge new selection of sprites. There's some just kind of ease of life things, but the biggest thing that runners are going to have to get used to, at least the ones that have been playing this for a while, is the new map generation, which I think is one of the most interesting sort of additions, where there's, I guess technically I probably don't know exactly what they did, but there are many more rivers that can run through the map, and it leads to a lot more interesting exploration. And it seems to be way different than what it used to be. And I really, really enjoy it, and I think it adds a whole new layer of strategy to the races.
Yeah, I've only played the rivers a few times, but it seems like exploration's gotten slightly easier. It's given me a little bit more of a view of the map, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I haven't gone into, oh no, I can't find anything mode. not yet, but I don't know. It's coming soon, right?
Right. Well, and I was thinking, actually, in my experience, and this is randomizer, right? You never know what the average is going to be like, but it seems like there's a lot more narrow paths that result with these streams. So it's like, in the past, you might see, okay, there's this path. It looks like it has to be a dead end. No, you have to explore absolutely everything now, or you could miss that crucial detail.
Yeah, but there's one more feature thanks to these new maps. Sparkover, what is...
Oh my gosh, so back in the day, you would very constantly find bridges leading to exactly one tile, and I took a little bit of a liking to them. So over, the course of a few seeds that happened, they were dubbed Sparkover bridges. Though sadly, something to do with map generation sort of made bridges themselves sort of disappear over time. Though thankfully now with this new map generation, there are quite a few bridges appearing now. It's very exciting.
Yeah, and actually we've kind of I know, and before the draw, I had like basically the 1,000 islands, including a Sparkover bridge. So I don't know. Oh darn it! Now I want to go to Canada. Now that I said 1,000 islands, but
yeah, it's a very tasty dressing.
Anyway, so are we ready to see some of the matches, or maybe all of them, the matchups that we have?
Only if the chat says so.
Well, I guess we'll have to rely on the chat to let us know if they would like to see who is in here. I'm seeing some convincing.
Yeah. I think they said yes. So
so far we've got 3 ones and 3 yeses and 1 no.
Pie chart says yes. We're doing it.
All right, great.
So, starting off here, we've got Ich Bin Maya versus Jacquemus Wedge.
All right, so Ich Bin Maya has joined us for the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League, and part of it was because what was it? I think it was the black belt or the master. Yeah, no, it was the master from Final Fantasy Randomizer. Was one of the sprites you could choose. And so he joined us for the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League. So it's great to see him there, and it's great to see him join us for the tournament as well. What else was I? Oh yeah, he runs the Final Fantasy Randomizer League as well. A couple of had many successful years with that. So great to see him. Unfortunately, he's got to deal with Jack, and Jack was third in 2016. He's one of the old school guys. Top 8 in 2017. He wound up 4-1 in 2018. He scored like he was near the top in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League, even though he was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs there. But he's always been rocking the house as far as Dragon Warrior Randomizer is concerned. The big risk taker, and really looking forward to see what he's got in store this year.
Absolutely, and I would say, given that Jack is in this race, there's approximately a 40% chance the race will take at least 3 hours. He seems to be, I don't know what he does, but ridiculous things happen whenever he's in a race, either good, crazy, or who knows what. But the other thing I'd like to point out is, if you look at Jack's ranking right now, he hasn't raced a lot recently. It says he's 50th, and we all know he's going to punch a lot higher than that weight. And I feel like that's going to be a similar trend as we reveal these brackets. The community as a whole has gotten so much better, and there were so many really, really good players. There's so much parity, and it's going to lead to a lot of just who knows who's going to win. Like, anyone can win any race, and we always say that, but it seems like it's more so the case this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jack is just we're pretty much destroyed. But yeah, you mentioned the legendary 3-hour 20-minute seed. Hopefully we won't have any of those this year, but we'll see.
All right, so I guess moving on, we have two fairly well-known people in the community, Weejui versus Tristal MTG. Again, Tristal is someone who has been third, second, fourth in that top echelon of the rankings. So again, he's someone who can punch well above his posted ranking. And Weejui, of course, he is such an accomplished speedrunner, both in Dragon Warrior, as well as, I'm pretty sure he likes to play like Mike Tyson punching out Dracula or something like that. But he's always entertaining and very skilled, and I'm really looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah, that's going to be a good matchup for sure. Weejui was in the top 6 in 2016. They've both been here since the beginning. And there's NES Cardinelli in chat. Good seeing you. Mentioning Kung Fu. I was about ready to mention that. He beat me to it. But so this is going to be a very good matchup. Tristal is a very accomplished randomizer runner. He won the very first Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament, if I remember correctly, and was 4th in 2017, made it to the round of 8 in 2018, got 18 points in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League, made it to the playoffs, did lose in the first round, but he is very good at randomizers. So this is going to be a very good matchup. Really looking forward to it.
All right, so moving on, we've got Monsieur Slime versus Rayless.
I am looking forward to this. This is going to be very interesting. Rayless is in his first tournament. He did make it to the final 4 of the Duncan Melvin's Chaos tournament that opened over Angry Larry's channel. There was like 13, 14 people in that. And is doing pretty well. Has been doing very well as of recent. And then we have Monsieur Slime, who has raced once. It was a 7-runner race, and he finished second just behind NES Cardinelli. So this is going to be one of those great unknowns, and I don't know. Maybe Monsieur Slime might have a chance at a playoff spot. I don't know, but that is this is going to be a very interesting matchup, Mr. Holmes.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed just the other day that Monsieur Slime, as the Canadians would say, gained approximately 580 rating points from that race you were mentioning. That was his initial ranking. So statistically, which of course I have to mention, is I expect him to jump into first place in the rankings with his next race. Should be around 1150 or so. So really someone not to be messed with.
So moving on then, we've got Demarine and Lavkian.
Oh, it is so good to see Demarine in this tournament. I'm so glad to see her in the tournament. She has done so much for the randomizer community. She is a workshop helper for Free Enterprise. She helps out with the Final Fantasy randomizer as well, and now she's taken up her promise to defeat high spirits and do better. And well, she's gonna struggle against Lavkian. I'm thinking he's been running since 2017. Got 3-2 and was 3-2 last year. Lost to BT in the first round of the playoffs, but he's done very well over the last as of recent. So won 6 races out of his last 10. So I definitely give the advantage to Lavkian here, but you never know. That's why they play the rate. That's why we race, right, Mr. Holmes?
Exactly. Not to toot my own horn a little bit, but when I joined my first tournament, I was one of these people who barely had a ranking, and I was able to do really, really well. So you can't see oh, someone has no ranking, they've got no chance. You can't say that. There are some people that have recently joined the community that are just in seems like in 2 weeks of playing, they're huge heavyweights. So we can get more into that detail later when they pop up. But again, just because someone has no ranking, then people can be good if they just watch races and are kind of doing their own little thing. Then they show up and just go to town.
All right, so looking forward to the next. We've got Braxis Muse versus Zarnax 42.
Ooh, Braxis Muse joined the. I believe the first tournament was the league. Almost made the playoffs there. Didn't quite make it, but recently he's been doing pretty well. 4 wins out of the last 10, and tack on a second and 2/3 on top of that. So. Definitely doing very well in the SRL ranking, pretty much reflects it. Very active racer. And then there's old school, Zarnax 42. And Zarnax made it to the grand final of Duncan Melvin's Dragon Warrior 2 treasure hunt that we had. That's over in Angry Larry's channel. Top 8 in 2016, 4-1 in 2018. Lost to BT in the round of 8. Also was in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League, and I see that 21 equals 42 divided by 2. That's what Zarnax says. But, this is going to be a very good matchup. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm going to say this is a toss-up at this point. I mean, Zarnax is a very accomplished runner. He's in a whole bunch of other randomizers, if I recall. So, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no kidding. Braxis in particular is someone as he's kind of integrated himself into the community, I've talked to a lot, and definitely he is very open and absorbs strategical decisions in this game very quickly. And so I've been quite impressed and pleased to see how he's been rising the rankings. So he's definitely someone not to be messed with. And I'll be saying that all the time, I'm sure. And of course, Zarnax, his reputation precedes himself. So I mean, what else is there to say? This is just going to be the greatest tournament. I'm so pleased for how many people we've got in and just how our community is growing. It just makes me so happy and gives me great joy.
All right, so our next match then is Amazing Toaster versus J-Man 1865.
Oh, J-Man just recently joined our community, if I'm not mistaken, and has done quite well. He's wound up into the middle of the pack in 29th place, so in the SRL ranking. But so you might be looking at possibly a playoff spot there. I could say the same thing about Amazing Toaster. Also has a chance at a playoff spot. I've been doing a lot of Zelda 1, Zelda 2 randomizer. And joining us into the he participated in the league. I didn't write down how he did, but we're definitely looking forward to another good matchup. Oh boy, line up with all the matchups here, Mr. Holmes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know these two entrants super well. Like, I know them basically just from being in races with them. But definitely, this is one of my favorite name matchups of the whole thing. Like, two very A+ names right there. And sometimes that's just as important as who wins the race, right?
Sure.
All right, so going forward, next we've got Edgeworth versus Sigma Fan.
Yeah, so Sigma Fan, she's new to our community, jumping from Link to the Past randomizer to join us at this tournament. So it's glad to see her join us. I don't think she's raced yet, so this is going to be one of those unknowns for Edgeworth. How good is she? We won't know, but Edgeworth is one of those old school people. He's been with us since 2017 and hit the top 6 in 2017. His specialty is Final Fantasy randomizer. I believe he won the Final Fantasy Spring Tournament. Not this year, it was last year he did that, but so I definitely would give the advantage to Edgeworth, but Sigma Fan is a big unknown.
Yeah, for sure. And what else can I add? You did such a great job of covering it. Is Edgeworth is a really good commentary person who I've had the pleasure of working with, and yeah, just all around cool person. Sigma Fan, I don't know you, sorry. Otherwise, I would have kind things to say about you too, I'm sure.
All right, so moving on then, we've got Angel FM versus the Seawolf.
Wow, the Seawolf won. One of the old school people. He's been with us since the beginning. And I know he plays a lot of Zelda 1 randomizer and plays a lot of Dragonware random. Now, sorry, let me get my notes here. Here we go. Yeah, he made it 2 and 3 in 2018 last year. Didn't make it out of the play-in. Got 13 points in the league. So nearly made the playoffs. So he's might have a chance at a playoff spot. If he defeated me in round 5 of the Swiss tournament, he would have made the playoffs. So anything can happen. But tough matchup against Angel FM, who has just rocketed through the rankings. Been with us only like 3 or 4 months. And, doing just so well. Let's see. He's won 4 times over the last 10 races. And no, I've been one of the victims of his great runs. So he might be in the championship discussion at this point, Mr. Hall.
Yeah, absolutely. And it blows my mind seeing these people like new to the community. And even though I haven't been doing a lot of races recently, I still follow what's going on, and I check the rankings out from time to time. It's just like, wow, Angel FM won again. He won again. Finished 2nd place. Like, what's going on? I mean, who is this? Is this Ness Cardinality wearing a cloak? I don't know, but it's awesome to see so many people get so good.
All right then, so next up we've got Poidrak versus Spack Rover Huh.
Yeah, her. That's right. We're gonna start with Poydrak. Let's see. He's jumping from Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. And this is just. I think we're at the second or maybe the third person. We're gonna have a long list of people jumping from Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. But yeah, I see that he's run a few races. You know, it hasn't gone too well, but I mean, you never know. I mean, he could have just an amazing seed, and that's exactly what he's going to need against Sparkover, who's been with us since the beginning. We mentioned that she ran Dragon Warrior Randomizer for RPG Limit Break and won that race. But she also has been on this channel 2 other times, once for Questing for Glory, another at the Dragon Quest Marathon. That was with me when we did cooperative races. Although she has this kind of rivalry against High Spirit. She lost to him twice, once in 2016, once in 2017, both to knock her out of the tournament. And then last year she lost to Eternal Newbie in the first round. But all of a sudden now she went up to like 4th or 3rd in the SRL rankings. Now she's 6th. So, is she going to be in a championship discussion? I'm thinking yes. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say I'm sorry to say. I'm gonna emphasize. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Holmes. I've said enough.
Yeah, it's the power of the new laptop. That's what it is. When you don't have to worry about anything else, you can just focus on the races, I'm sure. But again, when you have such a on paper disparity, you think, okay, there's no chance that this person can win, but you never know if you could ever get a map generation that has just like a loop of Sparkover bridges. I think that would be really good for Poydrak. I'm pretty sure she would just like run around them, searching every tile over and over and over again. So let's hope for that. That would be interesting.
I feel a bit of pressure here. Let's change the subject. Hey, so how about that Couch 23 versus Veilov matchup?
Well, okay, fine. The second consecutive match where we have someone jumping from Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. He finished 5th in the World Series of Free Enterprise 2v2 event. He joined Z-Ban for that, and yeah, he's a real cool guy. So so glad that he's able to that he joined us for this event. Going against Veluv, this is probably going to be a very good matchup. In fact, they've both been practicing and trying to do a good job. So, well, I mean, one of these two are going to be 1-0, and I'm going to call this a toss-up.
Right, and so I'd like to add, this is another one of my favorite name matchups. I mean, I take great joy in not just watching these awesome races, but in every little possible way. So, yeah, I know Velu somewhat. Don't know Couch 23 somewhat. I'm just looking forward to meeting all these new people. I think through the tournament, it's going to really rekindle the desire I have for this game, and I'm just looking forward to meeting so many people as this community expands.
Speaking of community expanding, now we've got Vanivan now in the ranks, who will be playing against Silverfire, who I'm going to note was my partner in racing on RPG Limit Break in May. Yay!
Yay!
Excuse me. So I'm going to have Sparkover fill in the holes here with Vanivan here. I know that he's a staff member of Retro Gaming Live.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know too much more about him, but I know that
he's
very popular. Star Tropics. But but either way, I'm so glad that he's able to join us. I know he's very popular with a lot of people, so really good to see him join us for this tournament. Might have some difficulty against Silverfire. That 36th place in SRL is a misnomer. They were in the Free Enterprise League last year. They finished in the top 6 in 2017. They finished 4-1 in 2018. ran into the NES Cardinality roadblock in the round of 16. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup. I'm sorry, Vonnie, I've got to give the advantage to Silver Fire on this one, though.
So, if I heard you correctly, you said that NES Cardinality was a roadblock. I'm hearing a lot of references to an Armored Knight right here. So we're gonna need someone to like Photoshop a picture somehow. I'm sure there's some pictures of NES Cardinality lurking around. We'll have to make that happen. I guess
those don't actually exist.
No, they're just a figment of our imaginations. But I'd like to give a shout out to the 329 people who are here right now. That is absolutely phenomenal, and I'm glad to be sharing this with all of you.
All right, so then our next matchup, we have Ferran Burgundy and Basp33. Ferran has actually been our longtime commentator, and now, upon getting a new computer, is jumping into the world of playing himself.
Hooray! So Ferran has actually been doing pretty well in Dragon Warrior Randomizer, and that's pretty much Sparkover has covered it. He's slowly getting better and better and better. So I definitely would put him in the conversation of possibly a playoff spot. I definitely think that he can get 2 wins, but so no pressure, Ferran. Got to go against Basp, who nearly made the playoffs of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League last year. Hasn't raced recently, so this is probably going to be a very good matchup. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, especially if you said Basp hasn't recently, to still be 28th in the rankings means that they probably had very, very, very good finishes around that time. You mentioned doing quite well in the Randomizer League. I mean, Ferran, obviously a very accomplished racer and commentator and restreamer and just all-around good person, also known to read anything off a teleprompter. I'm Ferran Burgundy.
All right, so for our next match, we've got Bobski versus the Amused Miniature.
All right, Bobski is done very well since joining us in the community recently. Maybe in the last 6 months, 7 months, 8 months or so. Been trying to get a really good run of Dragon Warrior 2 going, the actual vanilla speed run. So really glad to see him return for the tournament. Was kind of close to getting a playoff spot in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League, but you can see the SRO ranking 25th place. So again, I would put him in the conversation. He might get a playoff spot, might go 2 and 3. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Got to go against the Amused Miniature, who's going to help us a lot with our restreaming festivities here. And I remember, yes, he jumped from Final Fantasy Randomizer. I don't think he's been in a tournament yet. I think this is his first tournament as far as Dragon Warrior Randomizer. And yeah, I would call this another very interesting race. I give the slight advantage to Bobski, though, on this one, Mr. Ho.
Well, yeah, to talk about these two, I mean, Bobski has a very special place in my heart as a partner in the suffering, the catastrophic suffering that is speedrunning Dragon Warrior 2. And I noticed High Spirits in chat says Dragon Warrior 2 speedrun is impossible. The Amused Miniature, again, I see they're very, very active in the community, if not racing, just always being around watching and hopping around chats and being very, very involved. And I think this is just a case where the Amused Miniature just doesn't have the full volume to get the ranking up there. I think the Amused Miniature is very, very talented and could, again, be someone that could punch way, way above their ranking. And you were saying, that someone who could finish 2 and 3 could challenge for a playoff spot. I'm thinking that despite the fact that these two runners are playing in the first round, I'm predicting that both of them will finish 5 and 0.
All right, so then our next matchup, we've got Janazil versus Lorgon.
And before I do that, I'm going to, I'd like to recognize Naughty Zoot for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much for doing that. Really appreciate it. Janazil can be a force. He's been he's been with us since 2017, since the second tournament. Made the playoffs, got 3-0 in the 2018 Chaos tournament. Did finish 2-3 last year. Didn't advance out of the play-in race. Excuse me. But he runs a bazillion randomizers, so it's great to see him back in the tournament. This is going to might be a little bit of a challenge playing against Lorgan, though, who's just been so who's just analyzed this randomizer in such an in-depth way. And you can see with that SRL ranking of 9th, definitely going to be very good chance of making the playoffs for sure, and probably might make a run here. We'll see, Mr. Holmes.
Yeah, these are two names that I very thoroughly recognize. Definitely speedrunning Dragon Warrior 2. There's an enemy called a Gorgon, who is affectionately at my stream called a Lorgon, and they're just someone who's a brick wall, and you would have to work really, really hard to get through. And I see a lot of similarities with this. Lorgon is someone who, at the surface, it's like, okay, they're never putting together like huge winning streaks, but someone that's just like always like first, second, third, like always in that sort of top tier of a race, even the really big ones. And those are the kind of people that, at least from my perspective, concern me the most, because you know that they're not going to make many mistakes, and you have to be careful. If you mess up, like they're going to beat you, and that's just the way I see it.
All right, so moving on next, we've got Bryce Elf versus someone who just asked in chat, did my name come up? The Hangry Canuck. Good timing there.
Yeah, very good timing. And the Hangry Canuck says, "Go Canada." I wonder okay, there's one. Where's the other?
Woo on behalf of Mr. Holmes.
Yeah, okay, very good. The Hangry Canuck has been with us for since last year. Did get a 2-3 record in 2018, so didn't quite make it out of the play-in. So that no ranking on SRL is a bit of a misnomer there. Gonna go against Bryce Olf, who made the playoffs of the league last year and has done pretty well. So they both might be in the running for a playoff spot. So hang on.
Yeah, and Bry is probably very well known for being an absolute god at NES Open Tournament golf. And as much as I like playing those golf games, I would never even consider like speedrunning that seriously, because I know there'd be absolutely no chance in the next 57 years that I would ever beat any of his times. But recently, in his attempts to improve that, he's also been doing tons of randomizer, and I feel like he's kind of brought a few people into the community. There's always a couple of people that he's racing against, not necessarily in SRL races. So I wanted to give sort of a special recognition for helping the community grow.
All right, so then our next matchup, we've got Thurwolf versus Aligerbrap.
All right, Thurwolf coming in from Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, particularly Zelda 2 randomizer. It's great to see him join us for his first tournament. Ali Gerbrap, jumping from Final Fantasy randomizer, has been with us.
Quite a while.
Yeah, I thought he was in the league. Maybe he wasn't. But Ali now predicting that Thurwolf is going to crush him. We'll see. We'll see. That's why they play the race, right, Mr. Holmes?
Right. And I'd like to point out that Thurwolf has the best SRL rank and also that his name spelled backwards is Flow Right.
All right, I'm going to turn the page. Oh, hi, it's Mr. Holmes versus Scratch Dragon.
Well, I'm going to start with Scratch Dragon first. I should say this person is from Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. Made the league, I believe, last year or this year. I know this person was in the Free Enterprise League, and so definitely has a lot of knowledge in these randomizers. But gotta run into gets the worst luck. Runs into Mr. Holmes, the 2016 champion. Finished second in 2017 to some guy who might be talking right now. Finished fourth in 2018 after two very thrilling matches against NES Cardinality. Made it to the playoffs of the league. An amazing force. Racked up 5 wins in the last 10 races. Oh boy, but I'm going to emphasize this over and over again. And we've kind of made this point already. Everybody is at risk. It doesn't matter who it is. You run into the playoffs and it's single elimination, boom, one lost, you're gone. So, I mean, just to further emphasize how fun this tournament's going to be.
Yeah, and so first thing I'll point out is that I was fully expecting, and based on my past tournament pairing history, to be paired with probably NES Cardinality. I mean, that's just how RNG sort of favors me lately. But again, like with the parity that is in the community right now, there's no room for mistakes. Like, you have to be so on your game. If you like make one small error, like you make a mapping issue or you miss something, like that's enough to cost you a race against anybody. So I mean, I don't take any of these races for granted, and I'm just looking forward to it.
All right, so moving on, I think this is our first match where we see like two really high SRL ranked people together. In a match, we've got Beta Strap versus Up to NG.
Oh, this might arguably be the match of the Swiss of the first round. Arguably, I think there's another match that's coming up real soon that we'll talk about. But anyway, Beta Strip made the semifinals of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League and finished 5th in the regular play, so to speak, in the first five races. Excuse me, done really well. Up to NG. He has been with us for a long time. Finished 4-1 in 2019 or 2018, excuse me, last year. I lost to some guy by the name of Game Boy F9 the round of 16, but only by about a minute. So this is one we're gonna say it again. Everybody is at risk, because if I just made a little bit of a mistake, or if FTNG did something a little bit different, I would have been gone, and we would have said he would be in the round of 8. So this is gonna be a great match. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. These are two people that in the last year, I mean, and of course with Up to No Good, just an OG in the community. Two people that should be fairly well known from those who regularly follow races. I mean, what can I say that you haven't already? I mean, Beta Strep is also a very, very accomplished Tetris player. I was trying to see if there was an anagram in his name, but he was missing an I, so really disappointed about that. Beta Strep is probably like one of the most intense yet like indifferent runners I've ever seen. Like, he seems to put all his energy and just like kills the Dragon Lord with like an absolute fire and rage. I've never seen someone hate the Dragon Lord as much as Beta Strep.
All right, so our next one, we've got Much Paranoia versus, oh hello, Game Boy F9.
Hi there. How we all doing? Much Paranoia. It is the first Dragon Warrior Randomizer tournament for this person. I don't know too much about this person, although I did have a little chat with this person with Demarine this morning. It is good to see much paranoia in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer. Join us with the tournament. I am sorry that this person has run into me. I guess I have to say it. I am the 2-time defending champion. Made it to the semifinals of the league. But again, repeat the chorus. Everybody is at risk. I mean, anything can happen. So, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, Amazing Toaster corrects me. Quarterfinals. That's true. The top 8. So anyway, the point's made, Mr.
Yes,
Holmes.
I guess that means that you're due for a loss if I'm interpreting what you're saying correctly. I guess again, I don't know very much about Much Paranoia either. Look forward to meeting them. But Game Boy, what I do know, someone I do know very well, both from joyous victories and agonizing defeats, is that he is just such an integral part of our community and is very talented person who has created, is it Dragon Warrior Randomizer 2 through 4? Did you do all of those? Am I correct with that?
Yep, that's right.
Cool. So huge shout out to that. And I mean, anyone who has seen Golf Randomizer knows just the pure talent and genius of Game Boy F9. And if you haven't, you need to check it out.
All right, so then moving along, we've got MTI versus the Alan Heffley.
Yes, glad to see MTI join us for another tournament, as we're going to see the 0 hit point spam coming up in chat here, because that's what he's known for. So, been with us since the very beginning. He was actually the very first Dragon Warrior Randomizer race, in fact. I think that was against RCT Mid, if I recall correctly. Won that race by like 40 seconds, and we love races like that. Nearly made the playoffs in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League, so still going to be a bit of a force for this race, for this matchup. Going to have a good matchup. We got the Alan Heffley, been with us since last year. Actually finished second. I keep mentioning the Duncan Melvin's Chaos Tournament over in Angry Larry's channel. Actually made it to the grand final of that, so this is a toss-up.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd like to point out that we now have 386 people in chat, so we're still going up. Clearly, we're not completely embarrassing myself, so that's great. But yeah, we've already seen some of it pop up in chat, but yeah, MTI is so well known in this community, mainly for his like elite level meme potential. And so, yeah, we're already seeing the Craigasms being spammed in chat. So I don't know why in particular or how it came to be, but he just seems to love not gaining stats, which is very, very counterintuitive. So whenever someone gets like a 0 stat in a level, he'd be like, oh, 0 power, 0 MP. Oh, I love it. And just that combined with his voice just makes it like instantly memorable. So yeah, you've got Alan Heffley, who I'm pretty sure like did decent in the last league. Is that correct? I don't want to mess things up here.
Yeah, he got about 10 points, so did wind up at 10 points, so definitely fell short of a playoff.
Yeah, so like that's just below the middle of the pack. So that's just nothing to be messed with right there. And this is one where like if you asked me to pick a person, I would have no confidence in selecting either of them. And that has nothing, it means nothing against the two runners, but just like they seem so equal in every single way that's going to be another race that's just going to be like, I could imagine it being just right down to the wire.
All right, so if this will Move for me. There we go. That moved properly. Fantastic. I'm just going to shimmy that around for a bit. Next up, we've got High Spirits versus Cyberdark.
Okay, we have two Chaos Tournament winners facing off against each other in round one. High Spirits, the 2018 Dragon Warrior Randomizer Chaos Tournament winner. Cyberdark, the Duncan Melvin's Chaos Tournament winner. One of these two will win. High Spirits also winning the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League and was in the top 8 in 2016 and 2017. If you recall, he took out Spark over both of those years. Win 4-1 last year, lost to Jay Coper in the round of 16. This is absolute toss up. Well, I wouldn't say a toss. I definitely would give the lean to High Spirits here. Once again, we're going to repeat the course. Everyone is at risk. He's doing very well. I think he made it to second place in SRL at some point. So, yeah, another great matchup coming up.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. And based on what you said, I'm just going to throw the bug out there. Could this be the only match of the first round that it goes into chaos mode?
All right, so up next we've got Concakes, a newcomer, and Tyrannex.
I did see Concakes briefly play Dragon Warrior Random. Well, I wouldn't. Let me take that back. I briefly saw Concakes play Dragon Warrior Randomizer a few days ago. So, if I understand it correctly, he is new to the randomizer scene. So it's great to see him join us, and he's going to have a bit of a race against Tyrannex because Tyrannex was that guy who was number 59 in the SRL and defeated me in the first Swiss round. So this is so Tyrannex is he was one of the rare people that was in the top 10 in 2 randomizers in SRL, Final Fantasy randomizer being the other one. So it's going to be a tough matchup. I definitely would give the lean to Tyrannex on this one, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm getting really sweaty over here trying to think of things to say. So again, just a great name matchup right there.
Also, I don't think it was mentioned, but Concakes is another one of our RGL staff members, so it's neat to see some of our community, kind of trickling into here.
RGL TV!
Woo! Anyway, moving on now, we've got Melee Wizard versus Smashy.
Oh, Smashy. I'll get to him in a minute, but Melee Wizard. Ben, oh yeah, that's right. He made it through the playoffs of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League. So that 46th place in SRL is a bit of a misnomer. And Smashy is in the championship discussion. I know there have been races where he defeated both myself and NES Cardinality at the same time. And once that happens, you're in the discussion. You're in the discussion. Barely. He literally just was edged out of a playoff spot in the league last year. Really looking forward to his performance this year.
Yeah, true story. I mean, it's not just like he beat you guys in one race. It's just Smashy has earned his SRL ranking through just repeated, consistent performances. And I mean, there's a race every once in a while when maybe he finishes in the bottom half, but it's just like, and that happens to everybody. But there was one race in particular, I'm not sure if it was a weekly or just a big race during the week, but he finished first place, and I think he was like, there might have been one person a few minutes after him, but the two of them were like 15 minutes ahead of everybody else. And I remember that being the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And I say that probably not super seriously, but everything is dramatic for me in those moments.
Drama. Okay, so for our next match, we've got Will Wagner Music versus CD Improv.
Oh, Will Wagner Music. I feel like this is a tale. It's kind of like a tale of two extremes. So he finished 1-4 last year. So you're thinking, okay, he joins the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League. Yeah, he's probably not going to do all that great. That's what you think, right? No, he makes the playoffs, and then he goes all the way to the grand final and loses to High Spirits in the grand final of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League. Watch out. He gets to go against the Queen of Cookies, CD Improv, and slowly but surely she's getting better. So this is going to be a fun matchup. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. These are two just from my interactions with them, just awesome people. And because I think we're running a little bit late on time, I'm just gonna start talking in sentence fragments. So for Will Wagner music, golf, Happy Gilmore. For CD Improv, baking. Oh look, a butterfly.
I feel like one day CD Improv and I will have to meet and we'll just make cookies all day and it will be a beautiful time. Anyway, moving on, we have, hey, this looks a little familiar, Tilo Tilo versus Ness Cardinality.
And this might be, once again, arguably, this might be the other race that is the race of the first round. Tilo.
Might be.
Yeah, arguably drawing NES Cardinality again. Lost in the first round of the playoffs of the league, but went 4-1 in 2018, losing to Zarnax in the round of 16. Now is one of our administrators. Gonna do very well. Almost surely will make the playoffs. And then we have NES Cardinality. Oh boy, this is going to be quite a matchup. 4th in 2016, 3rd in 2017, 2nd in 2018. Is this the year? He's been practicing all year for this tournament. Will this be the year? Let's repeat the chorus. Everyone is at risk.
Yeah, and as bad as I'm sure Tilo Tilo is looking at this matchup, I guarantee you Nescard is probably sweating just as much, even though he may not show it. I mean, what's to say about these two? They're just integral parts of the community. I mean, of course, Ness's reputation precedes itself. I think he speedruns like 2 or 3 NES games. He's pretty good at them. Maybe a few more. I'm not sure if I forget, but something like that.
All right, so moving on, then we've got Centroid versus Fury.
All right, so I'm going to try to shorten this because we're kind of almost out of time here.
We're encroaching.
Centroid didn't quite make it to the playoffs of the league, but went 4-1 last year, only losing to this guy by the name of Mr. Holmes in the round of 16. So Centroid is going to be a real force, and so I feel a little bit sorry for Fury, who's joining us from Zelda 1 Randomizer, who won the 2019 Swordless tournament. So really glad that he's giving Dragon Warrior Randomizer a try, and he might progressively get better as we go along, just based on how he's progressed in Zelda 1 Randomizer.
Right, I don't have anything to add. Sorry.
Don't worry, I already did turn the page. I was getting ahead of myself. Or not. So now we've got Jake Hooper versus Kyton.
Yeah, Kyton has been with us for quite a while and was in the Chaos tournament. Went 1-4 in 2018, so glad to see him join us again. And going against the quintessential randomizer player in Jake Hooper, been playing all sorts of randomizers, been with us since the beginning. Did make it out of the play-in and made it to the top 8 and lost to the roadblock that we call NES Cardinality.
Fun police.
All right, so then our next matchup, we've got Lord of the Synth versus Rye Guy.
Yeah, Lord of the Synth, definitely going to be another force. Definitely going to get a couple wins. Might even make it to the playoffs. 2-3 last year. Nearly made the playoffs in the league. But going against Rye Guy, who did make it to the Final Four, also made it to the Final Four of the Duncan Melvin's Chaos Tournament. And let me backtrack a little bit. Made the Final Four of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League and is now 10th in the SRL. So very high chance of making it to the playoffs.
Right, and again, Lord of the Synth is someone very easily could punch above their weight in the SRL rankings. Also, huge surprise. I did not know that Rye Guy had got up to 10th, you sneaky human being.
Yeah, there have been a few place changes lately. I would note that, you know, I was maybe 4th instead of 6th yesterday, but that's beyond our needing to talk about. Hey, let's look, a new match. Nitsky versus Captain Green.
Oh, fair enough. Nitsky, so glad to see him join us from Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. So many of these people joining us from that community and slowly getting better as time goes on. Been doing a lot of practicing. So might give Captain Green a run for his money. This Captain Green's won a number of Zelda 1 Battle Royales, played a lot of Zelda 1 Randomizer, did make the playoffs of the league last year. So Captain Green's got a chance at the playoff spot here. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, should be an awesome matchup. I've gotten to know the two of them, Nitsky a little bit less, but they're both really, really great people. I see we have 455 people in chat. The first match of the tournament is coming. Anticipation is building. I just can't wait.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
all right, we're gonna move on to the next match because we're kind of out of time here. Moonblaze Wolf joining us from the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise League and is in that league as we speak right now. We'll see some of those matches here on RPG. We're seeing a lot of those matches on RPG Limit Break. So glad to see him join us for this tournament. Going against Ursine Azure. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Slowly getting better as we go along. She beat High Spirits recently, so watch out. She might have a chance at a playoff spot here.
Right, for sure. I mean, it's just, Ursina is just one of those people where it's just like they come and like you can clearly see like this is something new, but then they just keep playing and they keep playing and they keep playing, and the improvement is just small and steady, and then all of a sudden just like, wow, this person is a serious threat.
All right, so I'd already turned the page. We actually have our first race that is going to be done shortly. Zedman versus JJ Schmidt.
Yeah, that's right. That's coming up in literally like 5 minutes, and actually those two should be setting up that race right now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, Zedman has been part of the Zelda 1 community a lot, but did join us last year and got 2 and 3 in 2018 and might make another force in this year's tournament. So we'll see how he goes. But buzzsaw on JJ Schmidt went 5-0 last year, but did lose in the round of 16 to BT. So this is going to be really exciting match. Gonna give the edge to JJ Schmidt. Had to go into retirement. JJ Schmidt did for a brief period of time. Has come back maybe like a month ago, and then boom, very rapidly went back up to 15th.
So I guess what I want to establish firmly is it Z-Man or is it Zedman? I just want to know what it is so that when I inevitably call him Zedman, I need to know whether I'm actually mocking him or not. So that's a very important thing I hope to learn. JJ Schmidt, I mean, you called him the Buzzsaw. That sounds like an absolutely legendary nickname, and I would be very proud to have that as my nickname.
All right, and I believe this is our last match. We've got Archfield Monk versus Simbu.
Okay, so I've got to do a little bit of an explanation here. We'll get to that in a second. Archfield Monk has been with us, been doing a lot of commentary, and I think has done some restreaming work for us, but I believe this is his first tournament with us, so we're glad to see him join us. Simbu, also new to the community, so I need to, though I do need to explain something. You may have noticed when you were on my stream, if you watched my stream this morning, there were 63 runners. Simbu came to me and asked to join the tournament after the time limit ran out. The administrators agreed, and Archfield Monk agreed to have this race to make it the full 64 runners. So Simbu joining us from Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise and is in this year's league. We are glad to see this person in the league, and that's what we got.
All right, so I guess without further ado, we could probably wrap things up and see what's going to happen next. There may or may not be a race. Just kidding. There will be. There will be several. I hope you enjoy.
Absolutely. I think we have 3 races coming. Well, we have a race coming up right in just a few minutes, and then we're gonna have 2 races happening at the same time at around 11 o'clock. We look forward to seeing it.
All right, folks, so just sit back, get cozy. We just have to do a tiny little bit of work behind the scenes here to get things all set up to do the race, but within a few minutes, you will be watching the first race to officially kick off this tournament. So please get excited, and we will be back very soon.